All right, all right. Welcome back to the Military Retirement Podcast. We are here.
We're live.
Um, yeah, we had a little bit of hiccup this morning. So we normally see what had happened was we we scheduled this stuff in the live stream in the software, and I suppose it didn't account for the time change. I'll blame it on the software, and I won't blame it on myself.
Right.
So we're supposed to start at 8. It is technically yesterday would have been 8 right now, but now it's going to be 9 here, Pacific Standard Time. So it is what it is. Thank you for Navy Cop. Navy Cop actually he checked up on me, man. He sent me an email.
You
He's
good?
like, dude, is everything okay? My bro, I promise everything's good, man. I was up late last night and I overslept. And a lot I put it like this. When you're going for a college degree, you have to same thing, same way as you adjust your mindset when you go from military to civilian. You have to adjust your mindset um, to accommodate that academic mindset
Mm.
because now there's a lot of reading. And I was just submitting some discussion questions, right? Everything's due by Sunday. So I'm like, of course, I leave everything to the last minute. So not really. I've been kind of working this thing over the course of the week. And just now I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable submitting this stuff. And there's like a 2-page paper due. And I'm like, God damn, I got to do all this stuff. So I was up pretty late last night. It was a mix between that and I got a Bamboo Lab 3D printer. And I was just sitting there watching this thing print. I made it was a pen, like a pen rest. I don't know if you can see
Uh-huh.
that.
Yep.
Get my face out of the way. A pen
There it
rest.
goes.
So it was a mix of all those things, man. It was, yeah. So lack of sleep, maybe, but all good.
Still,
We're here now.
still didn't print off the super chode. Not yet.
Uh,
Super chode's not done yet.
oh God, who brought that up? The super
I
chode?
forget.
Oh
I
no.
forget.
Yeah, let me write this down because I am going to bring up a little, and whoever said it, please put in the comments.
Say it again.
Say it
for the
again.
people in the
I
back.
can't remember. You may just get a super chode in the mail.
Yep.
If I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna write that down.
Pikachu.
Print super chode. Pikachu, right? Pikachu.
Yeah.
Not Pikachu. Pikachu. So what's going on with you, John?
It's been a heavy week, man. It's been a really heavy week. I mean, I'm glad you're back in school, so now you can feel my pain.
Oh, I feel it.
And you're like, oh, I thought I had 6 extra hours this week, and nope, I got homework to do and reading to do and discussion questions to answer and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And even if you're going full time, right? I mean, you're only taking 1 or 2 classes, maybe max per semester.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but once you start getting back into it and you haven't done school for a while, it's a lot.
Yeah, you feel it.
So I've hit a milestone, or at least I'm on the last like 8 weeks before the milestone to get that associate's degree locked in. And so my last class for that, which is a writing class, my favorite kind of classes. But yeah, so milestones, got about 8 or 9 more classes to go for the bachelor's. So this one will be done. The associates will be done. We'll be graduating in May. Bachelor's should be done by the following spring. And that's 2 big, huge milestones in my life. I mean, I've been working on these things on and off for decades. Just when I got time, and then I get into it, and then I lose time, or I get deployed, or something happens, or whatever the case may be, you get pulled away from that school stuff in a lot of PCS to a different part of the world. So those are really good milestones. I've been looking forward to those and getting those out of the way. But then I got hit with a boulder this week. And I'm sure everybody by now already knows, if you haven't been watching the news. I try to stay away from the news like we discussed last time. And every once in a while, something creeps up to the top. So we know there was a bunch of folks already killed over in the Middle East. The bombings have been going on back and forth. And there were 6 people, I believe, that were identified so far that have been killed in various locations in Kuwait, in and other locations. And so it popped up on my feed, and I was looking, and I was like, "This doesn't make sense. This isn't. It seems familiar, but it can't be right." And and then I double checked in Facebook, and I looked and saw, and one of the guys, uh, Army Reserve guys, who was in Kuwait doing the mission in Kuwait, had about 2 or 3 months left before he was ready to head back. And yeah, he was identified as one of the people who had been killed in the bombings that had been going on back and forth. So I just wanted to take like a few seconds, just pull it up on screen, give him his props. A good friend, really, really good guy. I've known him for decades, for quite a
Mhm.
long time. As a civilian, as a working side by side in uniform, as a reservist, he went on and pinned on warrant finally, and yeah, man, it's sad. I'm sure there'll be plenty of folks out there who resonate with this. Maybe not now, but potentially in the future. So I just kind of want to give people some forethought about it, that this
Yeah.
potentially could also be the case for you as well. Um, Gentleman's name is Robert Marzan, and really, really good dude, man. Just sad that he was over there, caught up in that situation, that just happened to transpire the way it transpired. I do want to give a mention out to his family and all his friends and relatives. Been a lot of posts on the social media about him. Some local news covered it over there in Sacramento, and I think it's pretty much hit mainstream all across the world.
Yeah.
So just want to give people because I'm still processing it, right? I'm still processing the thought of it, and it's not like it hasn't happened before. It's not like it's something that I haven't had to deal with before. But I think as veterans, I think we all kind of can resonate with this a little bit and understand that we're out there doing the mission, man. We're out there doing the mission, whatever the mission calls for, and sometimes things like this happen, especially when bombs are flying overhead. And we haven't been in that
Yeah.
situation for quite some time, so it's not like we're on high alert, especially in Kuwait or places like um, Doha or some of these places in the Middle East that aren't
Mhm.
necessarily war zones per se, right? We think of Iraq, we think of Afghanistan, and other places
Right.
like that don't really take this into account. So yeah,
Yeah. It is hard, man, and I'm sorry to hear that it came down your way and it happened to this gentleman here. Um, it's the unfortunate reality of the what we may encounter as service members. A lot of us don't realize what could happen. Because you are there to support and defend the Constitution, right?
yeah,
You are there to support missions, your the country's missions, and that could put you in danger. You never know where it's going to put you. Humanitarian efforts, danger, combat zones, etc. Depending on your job, depending on your unit. So there's a lot of factors that go into this, but yeah, it is sad that these folks, these soldiers, did lose their life because
yeah.
of this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to
Now
kind
we
of like reiterate and highlight and kind of
Yeah.
stamp my foot on it. It's like we definitely talk about it all the time, about community and about reaching out to folks, about having people on speed dial, sending text messages. We
Absolutely.
do it. We do it ourselves. We let everybody else know. Like if you know somebody, reach out, check up on them. And this is one of those times where it really hits home, where you should definitely be doing that either way, especially if you got
Yeah.
loved ones or family members or people you serve with who are still in the fight, and just checking in on them and making sure you say what you mean and what's meaningful, not just the banter, but also the important stuff, because you don't really know, you don't know what's going to happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, thoughts and prayers to the families of these folks that lost their life, man. It is really unfortunate. It is, and I hate that anybody's going through this,
Yeah.
but it's the reality of what we signed up for. I'm sure you deployed as well. I deployed as well, and we kind of understood what we were getting into, but then it becomes a reality when something like this hits close to home. You know, yeah. So I just recently not celebrate, honored and had a toast for a gentleman that he was my first mentor. He passed away. So it wasn't through like the combat missions or anything like that. He was a Chief Warrant Officer 4. He passed away. He had a heart attack while in service. Um, and it was also sad to hear. It wasn't a combat thing, of course. Like I mentioned, we did deploy together. He was my OIC when we did deploy. Um, very close to this guy. He kind of took to a lot of the knuckleheads, right? I call it the knuckleheads. I was one of them. Always trying to figure out a way to get around shit, and or like to do things a little bit easier. And he's the one that told me, hey, if you want things to be worth it, don't take any shortcuts, right? To do the thing the right way. And he's the one that I chose to go the Chief Warrant Officer route because I looked up to this guy as well. He was one of my mentors. So I just had a toast for him. It was a couple days ago. Yeah, it would have been 16 years today. So yeah, we lose a lot of good ones, man. Unfortunately,
Yeah. And I mean, it's obvious and in my face, so I'll address it. I mean, we don't necessarily have to bring it on the screen, but I'll read it off. From Ryan Beans. Am I saying that right? Ryan Beans 172. Just to address your comments, because I don't want to act like you're not saying something important either. There's always 15 sides to every story. You're right. There are a lot of people who have died in Iran as well. Innocent people in, as you mentioned, in the school. It just there's always going to be some kind of collateral damage in
Mhm.
both sides, and I just feel like yeah, we should definitely address that as well, and take that into consideration as well. I'm not saying he's the only one, but he definitely was a good guy, and when it hits close to home, and of course, if it was the other side and it was relatives of mine or something like that that I had experienced that with as well. I mean, I'm definitely not pushing that to the side and not giving that any light to that. But I don't want to jump on like this us against them kind of thing. This is more of just a tribute to a guy, real quick, just to. I mean, he was getting close to retirement as well, right? And we all get there, and some of us don't get there. Like you mentioned, your mentor who had a heart attack. I had a great chief. Command sergeant major that I worked for that retired, and shortly after that also had a heart attack and just keeled over. So it happens a lot. I just wanted to highlight that he's one of my brothers, and I feel like he deserves at least that mention. I'm sure after the news cycle stops in about a week, then there'll be no mention of him again, and it'll just be another guy, another name in the crowd. So
I'll tell you what, John. What I do, I have a few folks that I have a toast for every year,
mhm.
and different groups of friends that I served with. Um, I contact them. Some of them are out of the country, so we use like WhatsApp a lot. And for one, it was a retired or not, excuse me, not retired. It was a kill in action master sergeant um, with First Marine Division. So he was one of my first mentors as well. Kind of taught me how to be a Marine and what that's worth. So, um, I already explained my other mentor here, the Chief Warrant Officer 4. Another friend of mine who was a staff sergeant who actually he took his own life. So what I do is I put these in my calendar, and every year I get together with friends who knew these people, like not physically because everybody's all over the place, right? But like online, and we physically or we share a toast and laugh about good times with these people. We just did that for my mentor here. Put it up on Facebook. If you remember this gentleman, if you served with him at all, let's have a toast for him together.
Yeah.
So I'd say, John, put this in your calendar, man. Put it in your calendar, and every year, that way his memory stays alive, dude. Get with other people who know him, and just have a toast for him, man. It's the least we can do to kind of keep their memory alive.
Yeah.
At least it's the least I could do, right?
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. And we do have a question in here real quick.
Charlton Zimmerman, and welcome.
The 6 reservists who were deployed in a non-combat area, how are they compensated? I don't know exactly how they're compensated. It depends on what their status is. And even if they're in a non-combat area, if they're in direct support of a combat mission, which we don't really have at the moment, but they are essentially on Title 10 orders. So they would fall under whatever compensation would be under Title 10 for active duty people, even though they're reservists, Title 32 in a normal day-to-day. If they're on Title 10 orders on deployment, then they get treated at least from the secretarial standpoint. Yeah, all that stuff should kick in. I don't know exactly how they're going to handle these, but they are, as of that time, being in Kuwait or wherever they happen to be, on Title 10 orders. So they should get compensated and treated just like they are active duty, because that's what they're actually doing in uniform and service in those areas.
Yeah, I anticipate that they'll get their SGLI. I don't know what it is now, 500,000, something like that. It doesn't bring back the person. I mean, it does help with a little bit to cushion. Hopefully these folks had like life insurance. I know we talk a lot about it. I don't want to interject, anything else in there, but hopefully they had life insurance that will help, with the housing costs and anything else in their life. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll tell you, John, man, I put up some, on the Green Law Book side, I put up a couple, it was a short video recently, and it was about the Major Richard Starr Act. I know we were following that for a while. The Major Richard Starr Act, or the folks out there who don't know what I'm talking about, it would allow medically retired service members to receive both full military retirement and their VA disability. Currently, they only get the VA disability, I believe, or one or the other. Yeah, VA disability. So it's not concurrent. If you fully retired, actually, like with 20 years, and receive a VA disability over a certain amount, then they give you both of them, right? So right now, those medically retired folks don't get that. That's why the Major Richard Starr Act exists, or that's why it was presented. And that was recently blocked by Senator Ron Johnson out of Wisconsin, saying that it would simply cost too much. And when I read that, dude, I was sitting in my car. I was in a parking lot, and I was sitting in my car reading it, and I don't normally get like mad about things like this, right? Like, yes, I'm worried. I'm concerned about it, but I was genuinely heated, dude. I was like, what what are we doing here? Like it it would cost too much. And I'm thinking, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just heated. I put it like that. And then all these other things came about, and not trying to throw politics in there or anything like that. Just after I put it out there, and then I saw, hey, what's her name? Freaking Christy Nome spent $220 million on commercials. And I'm like, what's the priorities here? What are we doing? Um, so it really had me thinking. It really had me a little heated when I put that out there. And then a lot of people resonated with it, right? Like, yeah, what are we doing? Um, and I get it. There's other issues outside of veteran issues. I understand, like in the country, right? There's other issues. There's housing issues. There's crime issues. There's all these other issues, right? I got that. But then when I see things, money get thrown around for what I would call nonsense, it kind of puts things into perspective. Like the priorities are a little out of whack here. I don't know
Yeah,
if anybody in
it's
the comments has anything to say about that.
probably. Yeah, it's, I mean, if we're talking about costs, right? And cost doesn't necessarily always mean money. Cost can be a lot of things. It could be time, it could be effort, it could be a lot of things. And so if we're talking about costs for veterans who were medically discharged, medically retired, you know, that's for one. I mean, we've had a couple of folks on the show interviewed, and we've talked to them firsthand about it, and there's a lot more that comes with it because it's the fact that it's drawn out, prolonged process for the medical board either way, and then the fact that they potentially are leaving when they don't want to leave, right? If there's something happens and they get med boarded, it's not necessarily because they're trying to get out of the military. In a lot of cases, they're trying to stay in the military for a lot longer, and they just happen to be med boarded, so they get tossed out. I say tossed out, but they essentially get
Yeah.
tossed out of the military. Um, eh, but the amount of sacrifice that they give of themselves to be in the military, to be in uniform, to be in places like Kuwait and Bahrain and all these places, right? On a regular basis in a lot of cases, especially if you're talking about maybe 5 or 10 years ago, like people were on constant rotations back to back overseas for different missions. And that cost right there, that opportunity cost of them spending their time being in a place protecting the country, like that's a lot more monetary wise, I would say, than the actual paper money that they're trying to not give to them. And it's, I mean, for me, it's a rounding error, right? It's like, okay, well, if they get VA compensation and they get medical discharge compensation, and they can't
Mhm.
get both at the same time, or they take a portion of one out just to give you the other one. That's also what happens to retirees when they don't get over 50%. Then anything
Yeah. Yeah.
up to that point, they'll actually
CRSC.
take out of they'll take out of your retirement paycheck, and then the differential will be the VA money until you get past the 50% point. So, but the money's all earmarked either way, right? We've discussed this at length numerous
Yeah.
times. The money's already earmarked for veterans for their disabilities and this and that. And if they get to 100%, or if they don't get to 100%, that's it's kind of on them to do the process and go through the VA process and all that. But that money's already been earmarked for each individual, as far as
Mhm.
I'm concerned.
Yeah. So, John, quick, some good news I want to bring up. Some
Yeah.
good things for the veterans, right? Is New York State veterans. Shout out to you all, those who have 100% VA disability. I'll bring it up on the screen here. This was just shared this week, and I put it up on a post. So it says the governor signs a bill granting 100% disabled veterans full exemption from property taxes. This is in New York State. New York State. So shout out to you all. I know it's before he actually signed it off for everyone. As I was reading, it was like every city or county, or I don't know how exactly they divided it up, had their own kind of little rule, like some folks, some of them get 100% exemptions, some get like 10%, 20%, whatever. The governor came out and signed off everybody who has 100% disability gets full property tax exemption. So shout out to New York State for that. I believe that every state should have that. Shit, I live here in California. I wish that we had that, but we only have a portion of it, So it would alleviate a whole lot, especially as housing prices are going up. That could potentially, depending on the cost of your house, could potentially be a significant amount of money every month that is going back in your pocket, your family's pocket. So shout out to New York State. And what's the New York State's freaking governor's name? Can't remember. Governor Hochul. I don't know if I'm saying that, Hochul. I don't know this person. I've heard the name before, but shout out to them for actually thinking ahead and signing this tax exemption for 100% VA disabled or VA service connected veterans, because I hate the word disabled. This thing takes effect October 1st, 2026. The exemption will be applicable to the 2027 assessment roll for eligible recipients. And if you are part of New York State and you want to apply for this tax exemption, I will put the link in the comments right now. I want you all to apply for this if you are. I might even apply for it, and I don't even live in New York State. How about that?
You're going to be in the next one on Army WTF moments.
I get approved. They're like, who's this guy? He doesn't even live here. Oh yeah, another good one. Shout out to Brian Hahn here. Another good news story. Having lunch at a good restaurant with a great friend this week, Semper Fi, Vic. That's right. I met up with Brian Hahn here. We had lunch here nearby in the downtown area. And it was great. It was a little Mexican restaurant. Awesome time, good chat, good folks out there, good food, really good food. It's just a good time to meet up with somebody, have good conversation, and I think that goes along with the connections that we as veterans, or it could be anybody. You don't have to be a veteran. Connections that we as humans need. We from our ancestral times, we are part of this tribe. We depend on each other for different things. And hold on, got the Amazon freaking person here delivering stuff. My dog's going crazy. I don't know if you can hear, but yeah, we need these connections, and that's exactly what I had this week with brother Brian there. So shout out to you, man.
Yeah, and just to keep on down the road with the VA stuff, VA Claims Assist portal is now supposedly live. Normally you get the VA app on your phone, or if you log into the website on va.gov, and you can check the status of your claims. And a lot of us have been in that frustrated moment where we see it sitting at like level 5, and then it goes back to 3, and then it goes back to 5, and you're like, what's going on? Do I need to sign something? Do I need to do something? This particular application in the va.gov website is supposed to alleviate some of that. What it does is it allows the VA to contact you directly through this Claims Assist portal. And if there's something you need to, like you forgot to sign a certain part of one of your forms, or if you have something missing out of your documentation, or they need a statement from you for something or whatever, you can actually get some better up-to-date information on your claims processes. And I feel like this is a great direction to move towards. I mean, we're already cleaning up the backlog. We're trying to hire on some VRNE folks to get better customer service with VRNE and be able to service more folks. And this is just another step in that direction. Not to mention, hopefully soon, if it hasn't already gone into effect, using veteran AI to help build those claims. And some of the VSO organizations that have taken on using veteran AI, who the gentleman who's the CEO we've had on the show, but moving into the business of transparency, letting you know what's going on, so you're not just sitting there wondering why it keeps flipping back between 5 and 3 for 6 months. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it says, sorry, your claim's been denied, and here's the reason why, and you get the paper. I feel like this is going to be a good step in the right direction to help people understand what's going on with their claims and be able to respond to requests from the VA in a timely manner to get these things straightened out and get claims processing a little boost to get it a little bit faster.
Yeah, and real quick to answer the question here on the comment, Jason Beer 6005. Actually, I'm trying to pull up some info on here. So yes, it is. Here, let me pull up the question here. Has anyone used AI for a claim yet? I would venture to say yes, they have. And like we mentioned, we've had David, who is the owner, CEO. I don't know what other roles he has. Veteran AI. Now, this is not a sponsored thing, right? It's just this dude who's doing some awesome things with AI and then connecting that to claims.
Yep.
And I think he's done. Last time we talked to him, he said he's done like 30,000.
Yeah, it's in the
AI
tens of thousands.
AI claims. Yeah, so he's working on getting a contract with the VA because of how well this is working, and he has like a free. You can sign it for free, put your details in there and all that, but then he has like some kind of paid version. I'm not sure exactly how it works. I have not myself done it, but I'm on the website right now, and it says trusted by 30,000 veterans, and apparently a lot of people talk good things about it. You know, he's got like a what is it? A real veterans using AI. Thousands of veterans have used our self-service tools, AI tools, to prepare their own VA claim documentation. So it's pretty cool in that you're not just relying on somebody else to do it. It's actually educating you. I feel like it'll tell you why you're submitting these things and what you're submitting. I think that's part of the reason. So that way you can for one, educate yourself and then know how to justify it as well.
Yep.
So you said my AI filed SMCK, okay, for me, and it was approved in 3 weeks. Awesome, man. That's good.
Wow.
Good stuff.
That's amazing.
Good stuff. Yeah, I like that. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, people are using AI for claims.
Yeah. And just so you can
And-
see, I could pull this up real quick, maybe.
Yeah.
Veteran
vendors.
AI partnering with the VSOs, Chatbot 6 with full M21, MTAC 21 integration for the VSOs out there who are onboarding onto Veteran AI, using this to help them better assist veterans, because there's a handful of VSO organizations, and in each organization there's a handful of folks that are processing veteran claims, and this allows them to speed up that process and make it a lot more smooth and coherent, and across the board, just leveling the playing field across the board.
Yeah.
Sick.
So it'll definitely speed up the process, man. And I think that's where we're trying to go.
Yep.
Alleviate all the hiccups along the way. If you don't submit everything exactly how they want it, then they're going to kick it back, right?
Yeah.
So it'll alleviate all that trash and then make sure that you have a good product on the back end when you submit it. So good stuff that Dennis is doing out there. John, man, I had a conversation. I did a live stream this week with it was with Mike Quilty from yes, absolutely. Salute to all your super. Yeah, absolutely. Salute. It was a conversation with Mike Quilty from Wild Bill's Craft Beverage Soda, one of the sponsors of the Green Logbook. And a great dude. He's looking for people to franchise and all that good stuff. Franchise Wild Bill's Craft Beverage Soda, and they hook up veterans with 50% discounts. But following our conversation, I stayed on for a little bit longer, and I started getting questions from this gentleman asking, like, hey, he is at a crossroads right now. He is an E8 in the Marine Corps. He's a first sergeant in the Marine Corps, and he is eligible, or not eligible. What's the word? He's in the zone for sergeant major, right? E9. You can't get higher than sergeant major, right? I guess you can go sergeant major of the Marine Corps, but Sergeant Major it is. And he was at a crossroads. He's like, I don't know what I should do. Can you help me out with this? So I pulled this gentleman onto the live stream. I shared the link to him for him, and we talked a little bit about it. We probably talked on the live stream for about 30, 45 minutes about all of this, all the stuff that he's going through. And mentally, a lot of us don't know who to connect with, right? If you talk, he didn't want to go to his command about it yet for fear of retaliation on his fitness reports. So he mentioned that if he was to go to his boss and say, hey, I want to retire, that his final fitness report would be completely garbage, right? And my response to that was, hey, I've written fitness reports, I've received them, many of them, and when somebody's leaving the service, I want to give them, if anything, the best fitness report that they've received, the best evaluation that they've received. I don't want to kick them in the ass as they're on their way out, right? His issue was that he had promised his monitor, the person who makes all the moves at the top, that he would get this certain duty station as long as he did not retire out of that duty station. And now that he feels like his body is breaking down, and he's had a conversation with his wife and his entire family, he's deciding maybe now is the time to hang it up. Maybe now is the time to drop retirement papers. So what Vic would do, I told him, this is my advice, is I don't care about whatever the monitor says. It has to be an open conversation between him, his boss, and potentially this monitor guy. Because when your time is here and you want to retire and you've already talked to your family about it, who are they to change your mind? This is your life. This is your career. And he was trying to get over the idea that he would always be holding himself. He would always feel like he held himself back. Like he would feel like he's a quitter. He would feel like he never achieved the pinnacle rank of Sergeant Major. He's like, how do I get past that mindset? And I'm like, to be honest, it's kind of always going to be there, especially if you're like, you keep thinking about it, like, and he put it in perspective, because my next rank, I was in the zone for Chief Warrant Officer 4, and I didn't want that rank because that means that came with a move, a PCS move, that came with a job that I didn't want, a place taking over a position I didn't want. I was happy where I was with what I had around who I was with. So I decided to hang it up there. Do I think about the Chief Officer 4 rank? Sometimes I do. Like what could have been, especially now. Like I have friends who are now Chief Officer 4s, 5s, and I'm like, oh man, you guys came a long way. We were 3s together. We were, whatever, 2s together, whatever. Life goes on. I told him, life goes on, and people are just going to continue gaining rank. But if you know in your heart that it's time to get out, man, you could have a very good life on the outside, and we talked numbers a little bit, and he's pretty well equipped with what he has going on as far as like education and all that. I'm like, there's a study out there. I can't recall where I saw it. I had to find it. I have to put this on my little research column here, that you actually lose money for every year after 20 years that you serve. You get out at 20 years, you get your retirement, your VA disability, potentially. You go into a civilian job, you could be making way more than you are in the military. I'm evidence of that, because that happened to me. And I'm like, holy shit, man, I did not realize that this is how it is out here. If you have the qualifications, if you have the network, right? So it was a very good conversation I had with this gentleman. I gave him my email. I'm like, look, reach out to me if anything, man. I know it's a hard process, and I know he drank the Kool-Aid just like I did. He was all immersed in the Marine Corps culture. And I'm like, you gotta be able to embrace chapter 2 of that life once you get out. You cannot live in chapter one all the time and kick yourself in the ass about it all the time. You have to embrace that civilian mentality, or else you're always going to feel like, what if I did this? What if I did that? Um, and I don't know if you ever had that, John, but I struggled with that my first year out. I'm like, damn, did I make the right decision? What if I would have stayed in? My friends are going here. My friends are going there. I could have been this. And it's like, just I'm happy with what I did while I was in, and just move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I haven't given it a second thought, and that's kind of what I did. I trained myself up front the last 3, 4, 5 years in the military.
Yeah.
I knew where my goalpost was, and it was hitting retirement. I didn't know exactly how far away it was at the time, but I was definitely mentally planning for it. Thinking about the next rank, it hasn't even crossed my mind. As far as my brothers and sisters who are still who are continuing on to 30 years, 35 years. Just had a friend of mine, a guy I worked for, general. He just
Mhm.
retired at 30 years in a few months, like 7 months. That's some people's path, and some people know exactly where they want to go. And I say, if you've
Mhm.
got that goalpost set up, because it could be a double-edged sword, right? You could be saying, what if, on both sides of the sword, right? What if I stayed in and got to XYZ rank? Or what if I
Yeah.
got out and got this job and moved my family to this place where we want to be? It's a double-edged sword, right? So if you feel like you're going to regret something by getting out, then I would say stay in, honestly. And really honestly, just being really honest, after a few years of being out, like, it's way easier. It in the moment, in uniform, in the office, in the meetings, it doesn't seem like it's easier, but it's way easier to just stay in uniform. There's so much stuff that you can do with
Yeah.
your time. There's so much extra time that you have. Like, when you get out and go to a regular job and they expect you to meet milestones and hit KPIs and do all these things and produce work and turn a dollar, right? Because they're generally in the private sector anyways.
Yeah.
You're working for profit. They expect you to do the work, and they don't care if you've got other stuff going on at home. They don't care if you're doing school at night. Like, they're not worried about that. They're worried about their bottom line is like, what are you producing for me? How many hours have you put in? Have you logged these hours?
That's right.
So if you're even a little bit hesitant about getting out, you're thinking about it, but you're like, I don't know what it would feel like, and I don't know if I'm ready for that. Like, I would say stay in and do another year and see where you are a year from now. And then
Mhm.
if the decision changes, like you said, um, and it goes against what everybody else above you is expecting from you, to stay in and keep charging forward, like, as soon as you leave, they'll replace you. So there's not too much you need to worry about on the back end of that. Like, somebody will come in and take your slot, or the slot will go away. One of the three, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was this dude's concern, was he feels like he's leaving them hanging if he just leaves.
Ah,
And I told him, no, don't think that, dude, because as soon as you leave, yeah, exactly what you said. As soon as you leave, you are going to be replaced.
yep.
There's going to be another first sergeant that they'll just grab and be like, hey, guy, you got orders here. Mm, Stick them in that spot. So don't think that. I mean, it's cool. It's great to be loyal, right? And all this stuff to the country, to your mission, to all of this. But just understand that when you decide to retire, they're just going to you retire, they're going to stick somebody else in there. So understand that. Um, he had a hard time not understanding, but with that idea, that mindset, like, oh, I feel like I'm leaving them hanging. What do I do? My people, the mission, dude.
Yeah, of
You
course.
got to take care of number one. Take care of number one, man. Take care of you and those immediately around you,
Yeah.
right? He also mentioned his body hurt. He mentioned something. He had a heart issue. I'm like, bro, if you know that your body's hurting, man, and it's for me, it was like, hey, when I stopped having fun, when it got all about business, 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 and I stopped having fun with it, I kind of knew.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, maybe time to wrap it up a little bit. I kind of felt like that at maybe my 18th year mark when it was like, how they say it kind of gets lonely at the top, right?
Yeah.
Um, and when you start hitting like those higher chief officer ranks and all that, or even like commissioned officer ranks, or even like E8, E9, and you're kind of like you're almost there. It You have to start thinking like, man, it's no longer getting fun anymore. It's all about business. Do I want to do this all the time? And for me, it was. I mean, I was one of one, really. Where I was at, and I had to take care of 3 different duty stations, really, on the Western region. So I'm like, man, this kind of sucks. And if I wanted to reach out to the next closest person to me, the next person that could help me out with anything, they were like in Okinawa.
Yeah.
So like shit, I had to work with time zones and all that. But yeah, I'd say once it stops being fun, man, maybe you start evaluating whether or not you want to stick around, because I don't foresee it getting more fun after that, especially if they're going to send you to like headquarters Marine Corps or the Pentagon or something like that. Ugh, nah, I'm good.
Unless that's what you like. If you like that, then by all means. But yeah, like I said, if you think it's hard in uniform, wait till you get out of uniform.
Yeah, it is.
And then look back on it. You're going to be like, wow, I wish I would I would love to be able to get off work at 4:30 and just go to the gym for 2 hours and, do whatever. Like,
Or even if you were at work, right, and you had some white space and you had nothing else going on, you're like, hey, I'm going to hit the gym that's like right down the road on base.
Yeah.
How many times have I done that? Like, hey, I've got an hour or two between meetings and I've already knocked out everything for the week. I'm going to go out to the gym for a little bit. Or I'm gonna go for a run. It's a nice day outside, whatever, you can't do that in civilian life, man. It's you gotta, if you're past your 15 or 30-minute break, you ain't doing that, unless your boss is really cool. Yeah. So things to think about. That's why I'm a big advocate for veterans going into like the entrepreneurial route, because then you're your own boss. Your own successes or failures are your own, due to your own efforts. Yeah, Tony Slaughter says headquarters Marine Corps is not bad. It's at the Pentagon, so you have plenty to do. Yeah, I'm good without either of those. Thank you. I'll pass on those.
I mean, you spend half of your day just getting in and out of the Pentagon, right?
Yeah, right.
Half
like
your day gone already.
Half your day just trying to make it through the front door.
Yep.
Getting off the freaking the train or whatever, the parking lot. Yeah, I'm good, man. Yeah, but Tony Slaughter said it right, man. Take care of your health. That and time are things that we really need to be very selfish about, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
1000%.
Let's see here. Let's see what else we got going on here. I got a message from an old friend, Army Chief Warrant Officer, on LinkedIn. So we went to a couple Army courses together. We did like one of those Army Marine Corps courses together and all that. And he's about to retire. Just reading his message right now. He said he watched the VRNE video. He's 2 years out from retirement, and he's got a couple kids, and he wants to know what his benefits are when he gets out. Specifically, he's interested in VRNE. And I have not looked at his stuff. I haven't even asked him about his career or his education right now. I would, in my response to VRNE, I would tell him that it is probably a lot easier to get in if you have an associate's or a bachelor's degree and not a master's degree already. Excuse me. Because they're going to look at the master's degree like, hey, you already have a specialty in something. You already have the education. Why are we going to pay for more? You have to justify that. Even bachelor's degrees, if you have like a specialized degree in something, they're gonna evaluate that. If you have like a general studies degree or something, they may look at that. Like I have an interdisciplinary studies degree, bachelor's degree. I just was uncertain what I wanted to do, right? So I got that, and then I did two minors, a psychology and a business. So two minors there. However, they looked at that like, oh, okay, well, what would you like to specialize in? Specialize in? Okay, well, let's do psychology, right? So it's a little bit easier if you have a bachelor's or an associate's, not so much if you already have a master's degree. And I will say that for anybody signing up with VRNE, please don't look at it as an educational track. I know that we talk a lot about it, or at least I do. Hey, degree this, college degree that. You have to get into the mindset of how can this training, right? How can this training help me achieve something on the back end, right? Help me to get to where I want to do, where I want to be, and what I want to do as a career. And I think that mental shift when you go to talk to your counselor will definitely help you out. And never go up to the counselor and say, "Hey, I want to go to college." They can be like, "Nah, this guy." They're going to put you in the other category. Nah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're gonna go.
It's definitely great for if you're trying to shift gears into a different career path. Like if you specialized in, I don't know, human resources your whole military career, and you get out and you decide you want to do financial planning, or you want to do
Yeah.
psychology or something like that. Like it's definitely a good way to pivot. And in a
Mhm.
lot of cases, that pivot means going back to school and getting a degree. In a lot of
Yep.
cases, not every case. But the goal is definitely to help you uh, rehabilitate into a second career past your military service, right? Because
Right.
it's set up for folks who have gotten out of the military, whether retired or just got out after a few years, who have a BA rating of at least 10%. And then you can start to apply for that benefit, the VRNE. And in a lot of cases, it will save you from using your GI Bill if they put you down the path for school. And it gives you plenty of time, 4 years, generally speaking, plus or minus. But there's a lot of paperwork you have to do to get to it. But again,
Yeah.
it's if you're trying to change career fields, like me, I've done IT my whole life and cybersecurity and all those fun things. But my career path that I would like to go down is more like marketing and that kind of thing. And that in and of itself requires a degree. And so that's why I'm on the degree path for marketing. And they help you out along the way, and they ask you along the way. And things might actually change along the way. You might get halfway through the degree process and think, okay, well, I'm looking at this now, and now I've done some of this coursework, and it doesn't look like it's really the right path. You can potentially, steer to the right or left a little bit and change paths, but generally speaking,
Yeah.
yeah,
I will say, John, if you get too far into your degree plan, they won't change it for you.
right, yeah,
I've went all over Reddit with this, and I've seen some folks like, man, my counselor will not change it because I'm already like in there, like halfway done with the damn thing. So they're going to
yeah,
tell you, hey, you finished that. You already utilized this stuff. However, I will say that it's a lot of it is counselor dependent, and
yep,
um, I connected with my counselor because they're both former Marines, and we talked a little bit about this. Um, when I asked him, when I started this first class, and I asked him, "Hey, I don't know if this is the right thing for me. I'm going to go forward with it." But then he emailed me back and said, "Hey, let me know. It's whatever will set you up for success." Okay, so there's a potential after this class if I don't like the projected degree plan, then there's
mm,
and I need to make a shift because I'm within my first class or whatever. They'll allow me to make a shift. So, and that, I don't know if that means I have to pay for the class or what. I don't think so, but these are things that I need to ask him if I do decide to change this up, because I have been looking at like um, organizational leadership, organizational psychology as well, because I think that's the trajectory that I like helping businesses in figuring out but not just business, more so nonprofits and figuring out how to get ahead and relate to their audiences, that type of thing. So I'm also interested in those things. So if you're like me, you just got to pick something and go forward. Pick the one in the middle and just move with that one, right? You may see
That's right.
three, just pick the one in the middle and just go down that road.
Yeah.
So yeah, BRNE, man, it's a freaking animal, dude. But it can be done. John and I are evidence that it can be done.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a waiting game. It's a little bit of paperwork, but at the end of the day, man, you don't touch your GI Bill.
Yeah.
I have not touched a single month of my GI Bill, not one.
Yeah. Yeah. I was literally just talking to a guy the other day about the same thing. He was like, "Yeah, and the GI Bill," and he was asking about the Rudisill Act and how do you apply for that, and if it's potential. If he I think he paid into his MGIB,
Yeah.
and then they
Kicker.
converted him over. I was like, "Yeah, man, you just got to apply." I was like, I can't tell you what they're like based on what they have on the website. That's their stipulations of what they will require and what meets the criteria. But the only way you'll actually know is if you apply for it and see what they say. And then I told them about the BRNE stuff, and I was like, you could potentially, if you were rated before you started using your post 9/11, like you could potentially get all of that back. And you've spoke about it as well with the retroactive induction. Again, it's something you got to ask, and it's dependent on your counselor if they're going to process it, not going to process it, if they're just going to tell you no and give you the Heisman Trophy stiff arm or not. So yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it, man, but it's such a good benefit if you can get into it, man. Such a good benefit. I even like I changed so much. Like my mind changes so much that I was like, I'm sitting here, it was my first week in class this past week, and I'm thinking, do I want to do psychology? I was like, shit, maybe I want to be a pilot. Just fucking everywhere, dude. I mean, it's such a good benefit. I was like, I could really do anything I want. It was like the clouds opening and shit. I was like, I can do anything. Maybe I want to be a flutist. Who knows? Who knows? As long as I can justify it. But yeah, get out there and use that benefit, man. It's so freaking good. So good. There was something else I was going to bring up here. I can't recall what it was, man. Oh, damn. It just escaped me.
Too many tabs, not enough time.
Bro, it's got to be about 30 tabs open. And not just this window. I have another window with more tabs. I have my other window with school tabs. This is like my nice to have tabs. Just a bunch of PS, man. But the cool thing is that the colleges, they pay for all these things too. Like it was Grammarly. The school has Grammarly in it, so I was like, I was writing a paper or my discussion question yesterday. And when I write, man, I just free flow, dude. Like, and I'll edit it on the back end. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Just write it in my known natural language as I'm speaking. And then as I go over it again, I'll just, make it sound a little bit better and kind of form it for the class or the discussion. And my Grammarly was like fucking red lines all over the place. So man, it was so good though. So good. And now we have to do like the APA formats, APA 7th edition.
Yep.
And
my favorite.
I had to get back in the mindset of that. I'm like, APA.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, kind of a pain, dude. It is a pain. But that's the price we pay if we want to get certified smart.
Yeah.
Certified smart, right?
That smart certificate. Yeah, you got to do all that APA citation stuff. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Not for me anyway.
It'll pay off. It'll pay off, man. It'll pay off in the back end. You're on the right route. We are on the right route. Anybody else? It's further education. Make sure that we are remaining sharp up top, right? Just shifting gears a little bit, man. I wanted to talk to you about something. I wanted to get your take on something, John, because I was having a little bit of trouble with this in probably the last week. And shout out from Hellboy Ram 6. You might be just up the road from me, man. There you
Our
go.
next door neighbor.
Right? Are you? Yeah, you.
He means
That'd be
he's
weird,
watching
huh?
through your windows with binoculars.
Do you mean you're watching me through my window, or do you mean you're? Oh, hell no.
Interesting.
So I was struggling with this a little bit, and so as we've talked about in the past, you and I write. We write things. I keep a journal. I keep several journals, really. My nighttime one where I reflect on everything that happened during that day. Then I have my other ones where I just write notes on whatever's on my mind. Then I have my to-go one that I have in my back pocket all the time. It doubles as my wallet that I constantly write stuff down in. And I was thinking, like, the nighttime one is where I kind of talk about all my stuff, my issues and all that. And I thought, how deep do I go with this? And I'm always afraid of going too deep with it because I don't want somebody to find it and read it and be like, man, this guy is really messed up, i.e., like one of my kids or something. Right. So I hold back a lot on it, where I feel like I should be able to let it all out on paper. I don't know how to get past that. I don't know how to be fully, what's the word? Give my entire self onto paper without having that fear of that. I don't know if it would take putting it on like a notes app online somewhere and then locking it up. I don't know if paper is the right route. But it's been something I've been kind of struggling with for a few years now. So I'm very hesitant about going all in and putting everything I have onto paper.
Yeah, so I used to write a blog for a little while. I don't know how many blog posts I made. I made a few, a decent amount of blog posts, and a lot of those blog posts were geared towards living a better life, having how to find the good life, how to experience the good life. And a lot of those blog posts got pretty deep into things. I've recently come into the conclusion lately, at least, and I know you've got one child who's a little bit older, over the age of 20. Let's just say that is kind of like the benchmark. I feel like the conversations that I have with my kids, even a few years ago, but especially recently, lately, now that they're in their 20s and now that they're experiencing life through a lens that's more familiar to me and relatable, because they're being adults now, trying to be. The conversations that I have with my kids now are, I mean, they've always been pretty candid, but now they're very, very candid. Like there's not too much that I take off the table when I'm talking to my kids. And I feel like that could be reflected in a journal entry because of the fact that if and when they do get their hands on it, they're going to be a little bit older. I feel like there's a really great insight there that I wish I would have had from my father or, my grandfather or something like that. I have a book that my grandfather wrote that never really got published, beyond just some small printing. And it's written in a completely different language. So I have to get it translated, and getting that translated is a whole ball of wax all into itself. But I feel like that's a good place for me to start to have a better understanding of my grandfather. But it's stuff like that I think about from my perspective with my own father, who passed away at like 61, 62, which was fairly early. And so the conversations that I have with my kids are very candid, not dissimilar from the conversations I have with regular people, with my wife, with everybody. And I feel like if you if you didn't want them to read it, or if there was something in there that was like really, really, really deeply personal, really a little bit too candid for them to read, maybe. And it's just a personal preference. Depends on how you feel about it, how you don't feel about it. You could potentially
Mhm.
write the stuff out, rip the page out, set it on fire, and have, a cathartic moment with it, because it'll it'll prove a couple things. It'll prove the fact that you're able to put those feelings down or those ideas down on paper, and you
Yeah.
feel free enough to actually do that, and then you also feel free enough to let it go and let it disperse into the atmosphere as, ash and fire and heat. um,
Mhm.
and that in and of itself is a kind of a very holistic, healthy exercise in and of itself in certain situations,
Right.
like on
Right.
a New Year's resolution kind of thing, like writing down something from the past that you want to forget for the next year,
Yeah.
and you can write it down and light it on fire and have a little kind of personal ceremony with it. So that would be one way I would approach it. The other way I would approach it would be just maybe opening the topics a little bit more candidly with the kids. But again, it depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. With my kids, just recently, my kids are dating and they're doing their stuff and they're working and they're going to school and all this stuff. And
Mhm.
sometimes they'll tell me a story, and it's funny because when I look at what they do, and you know how you worry about your kids and like if they're going to get into trouble, or if they're going to get mixed up with the wrong crowd, or if they're going to end up doing something really stupid. And I look at the things that they consider stupid or bad, or like maybe they're
Yeah.
ashamed to talk
Yep.
about. And I'm like, that's really nothing compared to the stuff that I went through, because we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cameras on cell phones. We didn't have, YouTube and the internet and all this shit that
Everything.
gathers all that
Yeah.
information and puts it on record.
Yeah.
It was the Wild West back then. So I
It really
kind of
was.
chuckle a little bit when they tell me about stuff, but I also take it very seriously at the fact that they're experiencing it from their lens, through their perspective, and in their specific space and time, right? And it's
Mhm.
something that I can kind of relate to, but at the same time, I can't relate to. But I definitely open up the conversation and make it very candid. I'm very open with them and honest about them, with them about certain things, dating or like whatever it happens to be. It's stuff that I wouldn't tell probably anybody else, but I feel free enough to talk to them about it because we've had this kind of rapport and this relationship and this speaking back and forth about it. So that would be a couple ways I would look at it.
Yeah. No, that's all excellent feedback, man. I really do appreciate it. I like the setting it on fire thing. That's very cool, in that you're just kind of releasing it. You're getting your notes down on paper, and then you're letting it go. So what I struggle with is that I think I mentioned to you before. Like I wish I had, when I went to go approach my own grandfather about this, about his life when he was younger. He simply just couldn't remember, and he was very closed off about it. So there was minimal information that I could get from my own mother, his daughter, and her siblings, because he just simply didn't talk about it. So all those things, memories and all that, when he passed away, I lost those. Never got access to those. Um, I would like my own my kids to access my own thoughts later on down the road when they are older. So I don't know if it takes, I think like Hellboy Rem mentioned on here, like putting it in my notes app and potentially giving them access later on, or locking away my journal, I suppose, but kids get into every fucking thing, I
Yeah.
have a lock on my watch case, and sure enough, my freaking watches are out of place now. And I'm like, well, what the hell, and they can find anything. Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like I live in this huge mansion or anything. It's just, you can go through the closets, when I'm not home, whatever. Um, but yeah, I guess that's what I'm struggling with. Like there is some deep stuff that I want to put on paper, that because I do enjoy writing. I have my fountain pens, and it's like a whole thing for me, right? Like I'll light a candle sometimes, and I'll sit there, light candle, and write my stuff down,
Yeah.
make it a whole thing. Right? And I don't know. Maybe it's a matter of hiding it like I'm putting it up in the attic. I don't know what, but I have to figure something else out.
I think one other thing that comes to mind as we're kind of unwrapping this, and I like this topic, I like this conversation where it's going. One thing that actually pops into my mind is potentially two things. The first thing is taking the ideas or the thoughts that you have that you want to write down and writing them in third person, like you're looking at it from the outside, looking in on somebody else, make up the names, make up the places, and potentially turn it into like a pseudo fiction, kind of historical fiction, if you will, kind of document versus just a first person perspective. That's one way you could potentially look at it as well. And you're very creative when it comes to writing, so that shouldn't be too terribly difficult. Plus, you're going to get a lot of experience in school over the next couple of years.
Don't mind me.
And then the other thing I thought of with this, hiding it away and then putting like a passcode on it, you could literally turn it into a treasure hunt or some kind of like what is it called? Geotagging? Geocaching, where you could potentially leave clues that would take somebody like months or years to figure out over a long period of time. Like if you go somewhere on vacation and you just leave a little geocache thing for them to find, and only they would be able to unlock it at that point to get to the next clue. You could literally turn it into a like a treasure hunt that would last them, potentially months or years to solve.
Yeah, I like that. Clues. I'm writing all this stuff down, man. Yeah, great stuff. Because I learn something every time we come on here on this live stream, dude. I really do. And what I have been doing in the past was I set up an email for each one of my kids, and sometimes I forget about it. Sometimes I'm on my game about it. But every month or so, I'll send out an email update with updates on what they've done. Right? Hey, this week you hit a double in baseball. You made it to second base. That was awesome. It was great seeing you do that. Filled with emotions and visuals. And all these things. Or like my other kid. Oh, you're going here. You're doing this. You're applying here. Going to this school. Just it's curated to each one of them. And I'll send it to just them, and then I figured when they're maybe 25 or something, I'll give them the password. I'm like, hey, by the way, I've been sending you emails all this time throughout your entire life. Here's the password. If you ever want to check it out, it's something at outlook.com or whatever. Something that I wish I would have had, kind of like a glimpse into their life at that point in time. But I don't get too deep into that stuff. Just kind of like the nice things, things I wish that I knew, the things that they're doing, things like that. I do like what you brought up though, the third person writing. I've not done that before. I always found it kind of weird to talk about myself in third person, but I think I might explore that a little bit.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it tonight. That sounds cool.
Yeah. I mean, I look at it from the historical fiction kind of standpoint where you've got, what's a good example? What's that Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter? What was that thing called?
Oh, yeah. I don't know I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of it.
So that's kind of like a historical fiction kind of thing. Yeah. Somebody in the comments, correct me, Google it. But that's kind of a historical fiction where it tells a lot of the actual stories, but then it also kind of wraps it in this cool little like vampire hunter kind of horror film kind of perspective, but it's still telling some truth. So there's some truths, and that's with any writing, right? I mean, even if you're reading like autobiographical writing, there's a lot of truth in there, and some of it is fixed in a way so that it keeps the story going, so it keeps reader engaged, of course, because writing a biography about somebody's life is not going to be a best-selling book in a lot of cases, no matter who you are and how many cool things you've done, unless you're like Kevin Kelly or somebody. So,
No, all good stuff, man. I love that. Good. I might have to watch that now. Now that Navy Cop said it's actually a decent movie. You twist my arm, Navy Cop. I'm doing it now. So I'll put it on my list. Yeah, a lot of stuff to think about here. With like, I have that paper due today, so I'm probably not going to be writing a lot about my own feelings.
Yeah.
Maybe that will contribute to my pissed off feelings about it. As I'm writing that discussion question yesterday, I'm thinking it's a good topic, right? It's drugs in America. And what's that? Almost like when you look at oh yeah, right? Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm there for, Tony Slaughter. Reading the articles, right? As I'm writing the discussion question, I'm wondering like why am I even doing this? For one, it was a strange conversation with myself, and then I'm looking at the instructions that the professor put out there. It's like, hey, I need you to have 2 references. I need you to do this and that, and half the people are not even doing that. And I'm like, what, dude? You're setting yourself up for failure. So I ask questions. Maybe call me the asshole in these discussion questions, but I challenge people on them. I'm like, why do you think that? And half the time I don't get an answer because they've already submitted their thing and then they already responded to 2 other people. But I'm the asshole in it, and I do it for a reason because I kind of do want to be an asshole. But for number 2, it's like I mean, I'm genuinely curious about it and seeing if these people respond. And I have these long drawn out questions and like want to see what your perspective is on this, because based on what you wrote here, this doesn't connect with this. And and I will pull up references to counter whatever they're saying, and I can see them like this asshole, and a little bit of that, and that's kind of what I'm after, and to challenge folks on that. But at the same time, it's aggravating. I get aggravated a lot, so I'm pissed off when I'm writing it a little bit, but I'm also I'm trying to join. It's kind of hard to understand this. It's kind of hard to actually say it out loud, but I get aggravated at things and people, and then when they don't go all the way on things and they don't go full force on things. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just kind of talking my mind here about my frustrations this week and driving to school and being stuck in traffic and people doing half-assed things. And I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just, again, this is my therapy here.
yeah. Yeah, man. School is again, it's tough to get back in the groove of it, even after doing so many classes already so far. Like even then, it's still, especially when you have if you have a job and you've got other obligations and you got house stuff to do and you got to take out the trash and like all these things you got to do. It's really challenging to stay in the groove for one, but it's
Yeah.
really, really challenging to actually get in the groove. Especially with the APA 7th edition stuff and the citation. I hate that. I hate it because nobody writes like that. Like nobody writes like that.
Where
Nobody.
did that even come from? They just made it up like, hey, let's figure out how we can make these people's lives a little bit harder. Let's do
It's
this.
a scholastic thing, and I get it. It's not so much about the citation and making the perfect citation. It's about doing the research and actually citing research that you've done and showing them where you found this information so that they can go and cross-reference it and double check and all those things. I got it, right? But it's painful process. And school in and of itself. Are your classes 8 weeks as well?
No. So my classes are 4 weeks. It's
4 weeks.
1 class per month.
Okay.
And then you move on to the next one after 4 weeks. So it's very accelerated.
Yeah, that's hyper compressed. Yeah, because ours is
It
8
is.
weeks. That's compressed down from a normal 12-week schedule. I think is a normal schedule
Yeah.
normal, from what I
So
understand.
the good thing with this is it's one class per month. So you only focus and concentrate on that one thing. And that I'm in class 2 days out of that whole month. And that fulfills the full time um, criteria, I guess, for VRNE. So it's 2 classes in person, the rest of it online, and then only 4 weeks long. And it's super compressed, but super focused on that one thing. I very much dislike the idea of these other universities where it's like 8 weeks, 16 weeks, but you have 3 or 4 different classes. And I'm like, I have to shift from this to this to this. I like the idea of focusing on that one thing because everything else is like, it's hard to focus on life in general, focus on this
Yep.
one thing
Yep.
and then move on to the next thing after.
Yeah, that's what I struggle with, is taking more than 2 classes at a time, and I have to like task switch between the classes.
Oh, dude, I hate that, man.
Challenging.
My daughter does that right now. She's in college as well. We talk about it sometimes, and I'm like, and she's taking what, 4 classes, and I'm like, damn, I've done it before. I prefer not to do that. Let's see, going real quick to the comments here. This guy had me laughing. Tony Slaughter, almost like the Playboy article. Is this guy, man? Plan 9 from Outer Space, one of the worst B movies ever filmed. B movie. I got a lot to say about B movies, man, or even C and D movies. Try reading The Law of Nations. I'm going to write that down here. The Law of Nations.
I got it pulled up in Wikipedia right now. Sounds interesting.
Nations.
Hi, Jason Mac McCullough. I should know how to say that, right? Because my name is McCullough. Jason Mac McCullough. What up?
What's going on? Yeah, these B movies. Like, hey, I laugh at these, man. Not even B. I don't know what you would call them. It's the Indian movies. Have you ever seen these? How like outrageous they are. The ones filmed like in Bollywood.
Oh, okay.
So I was sitting there and I went through some kind of YouTube hole somewhere and I ended up in Bollywood movies. And this dude, they're hilarious. If you just look up like Bollywood outrageous scenes or like Indian movie outrageous scenes, they're hilarious. This dude's driving, he flips a car. As the car's flipping over this lady, he hands her a rose. and it's so stupid. There's another one where the guy like, bends the bullet.
Yeah.
But then he's like, it's a music video, but he's singing in front of the bullet as it's coming towards him. They're hilarious, man. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly like that. I have whatever they say. I don't even know. I can't come up with it, but they're hilarious. But these B movies and the old school like kung fu ones, like American Kickboxer or whatever, if you look in the background, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but as they're doing like their scenes, watch the extras in the back. I was watching some kind of kickboxing movie. It was like a real shitty movie. And just watching the extras in the back, like, what are they doing? These dudes, same guys, running a circle around the cameraman and the entire fight scene. They're just running in a circle. And I sat there, I laughed because they're like looking at each other like, are we doing the right thing? Are we doing this right? And they didn't bother to edit it out or anything. They're like talking to each other in the background. It's hilarious. It's so good. I got to watch some more of that. B movies. Check. What else we got? Folks from the comments here, missing the 80s and the 90s. Oh, so do I, man. So do I. Not so much the 80s. I was a young guy, but maybe the 90s. The 90s were a cool time. You miss your Jinkos?
No, I don't. I do miss the 80s and the 90s, but I do not miss Jinkos. No.
They're all coming back, man. All the 90s stuff.
It does. Fashion
half
comes
the shit that
in
my kids are
cycles.
wearing, it's all 90s.
Yeah.
They're like, Dad, you ever heard of Jinkos? I'm like,
We invented Jinko.
yeah.
Yeah. It comes in cycles. Yeah, I miss the 80s, man. The 80s were a great play. I think that's why I like Sicily so much. It reminds me of the 80s. It really
Yeah.
does in a lot of
How so?
ways. Yeah. Just the way people act, walk, talk, interact with each other, how transactions happen. It really reminds me of, it's like a modern city trapped in the 80s. That's what it reminds me of a lot.
That sounds good. Sounds cool. So over here, like in everything here in the States is getting a little bit more advanced, at least where I am, like in SoCal, right? Um, one thing that's kind of makes me a little aggravated is all these e-bikes that are coming out. And e-bikes are cool form of transportation. There are a lot of kids with e-bikes that are all over the streets. Now there's no license plates or anything like that. They're just, I don't, I don't know if you even need to register an e-bike. I don't have one, but um, seems like large groups of kids just flooding the streets with e-bikes, man. And I'm like, we didn't, whatever, for one, whatever happened to like regular scooters,
No.
right? Like a form of exercise, maybe. But yeah, I don't. This 2026 is it's fun, but it's making me a little aggravated.
No. It's the
Yeah.
same crap that we did when we were kids, just now they have electric motorized vehicles instead
Yeah.
of pedals and foot.
Yeah. What is this? What is what Navy Cop put up here?
More insertion.
Mm.
Mike Slice. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Time and health, dude. That's what we really need to keep on the front of our mind, I think. Time flies, as you know, and you can't get it back. There was that talk of I was watching Naval Ravikant. Remember we talked about Naval Ravikant, the Almanac
Yep.
of Naval Ravikant, and he was talking about time, and he was talking about how precious it is. And you ask Warren Buffett, would he rather have more money or more time? And he's going to say time
Yeah.
all day. Warren Buffett, the billionaire, right? He's what, 90s?
Yeah.
He's going to ask for time. So it is a precious, precious thing. And we have to make sure that we are cognizant and use it the right way for the right things. Things that will bring us memories and, time spent with family, things like that. Because you don't get it back.
Nope.
You can't get it back. I was just watching The Pit, right? You watched The Pit? No, great show, by the way. Great, you should watch it, man. It's all about like the ER and stuff. It's really good.
Oh, okay.
They're on their second, third season, something like that. And I won't spoil it for too many people, but there's one scene where there's a lady dying of cancer. She's there, like she's about to go, right? And a doctor sits down with her and she's like, "Hey, how are you feeling?" She's like, "Oh, everything hurts, etc." And she's like, "Look, do you have any advice? Because I've never died before." And she's like, "I'm sure that you've seen a lot of this." And she's like, what can I do to make you feel better? And there was a conversation. She's like, I wish I had it. You can give me a time machine. And I think a lot of us think about that, like what would I have done 10 years earlier? If I would have stretched a little bit more, my back probably wouldn't hurt as much right now, but what am I doing? I'm in the present. I can't take that back. I'm in the present. What can I do right now?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, time is precious, man.
Yeah, there's a great Tim Ferriss episode. I forget what episode number it was. 153, I think. Yeah, 153. The Man Who
Good
Studied
show.
1,000 Deaths to Learn How to Live, B.J. Miller.
What show is this?
The Tim Ferriss podcast.
Oh, Tim Ferriss. Yeah.
Yeah, episode 153. He had B.J. Miller on. B.J. Miller spent many years in working in palliative care, which is basically the care unit, or the kind of like hospice care, where you're taking
Yeah.
care of folks who are on their last leg of life, who are getting
Right.
ready to turn out the lights. And
Mhm.
yeah, great. It's a great topic. Not from the mortality side of it, but learning from people
The
who are
perspective on it.
who've been there, who are getting ready to be on that journey. Very interesting. Learning how to live.
You know what some great videos on that are? If you go on YouTube, just look at like I don't know how I came across this. It was these older folks in their 80s, 90s who talk about, what their life was like and what they wish they would have done a little bit different. And a lot of them, from what I've seen, were like, I wish I would not have worked as hard as I did and spent more time with family. Looking back on it now, like they're in their 80s and 90s, right? What would you have done differently? It's pretty eye opening, and it's great to hear from older folks who have had that life experience. And every time I hear that, every time I come across one of those videos and I watch it, and I'm like, hey, maybe I'll get up off my computer and go play catch with my kid, or maybe I'll go out and get some ice cream or something like that with my kid, because these are, at some point in time, they're going to move out of the house. I'm not going to have them around here every day forever. So got to make the most of it with the time I have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right now they're small, man. They're all here in the house now. A few years they're not going to be here, so it's hard to think about that sometimes. Let's see.
Yeah.
These comments here real quick. Tony Slaughter says, remember those black cable boxes? I do remember those black cable boxes. I do. Are we talking about the legal ones?
The ones that you plug into to get free cable?
Yeah, right. They used to have ones with like a little SIM card in it, or a card that you plug it in there. You have to get it from like the cable company, and it gives you access to like other channels. And I just remember like you can program those cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember folks, I grew up in Jersey, man. They had all this stuff going on all over the place. And they're like, hey man, for like $25, you can buy this this card that gives you HBO and stuff, right? And I was like, oh, cool. So I remember those little SIM type cards. Look like cat cards, clunky, loud ones. Yeah, I remember those. Those were simpler times, man. Really simpler times. The times of like when Sega Genesis came out and everybody was all into that stuff, and before the internet.
Way before
the internet. Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, yeah, simpler times before the internet, man. And I think about that stuff a lot. But I think at least me, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and grew up at a special time where you got a chance to see life before the internet. You got a chance to see life after the internet and how much it has changed. Yeah, I mean, Tony Slaughter said it very well. Yeah, remember that? Are you talking about only if you paid for it, Tony Slaughter? Only if you paid for it. If not, then you get like the wavy lines all over the screen, and you don't know what you're watching. You have to make something out. Yeah, I remember that. Sitting, yep. You have to watch it through a color bar, sitting there, family room, waiting for MTV to start, from White Noise to the Buggies. Yeah, I remember I got my share of the MTV. I used to wake up, and I think it was in the 90s. I used to wake up and watch like TGIF, on Fridays, and then Saturday morning cartoons. And it's like if you missed it, you missed it, right? It was like weekly. You couldn't go back and stream it after the fact. You had to like watch it then and there. If not, then it's gone and you have to watch it the next day. And then you have to open up your TV guide, right? Your TV guide and figure out what's going to play, when it's going to play. So simpler times, man. Simpler times. Video killed the radio star. That's right. Not at night. Not at night. Yeah, a lot simpler times, man. It really is. The way technology has moved in the last 5 years is astounding. I was just here you go. Welcome back, John.
What up?
I was just talking to my son about this yesterday because I still have a bunch of 3D printers, some of them in my garage. And then I have this brand new Bamboo Labs one that just came out just a few months ago. Like they're top of the line type of 3D printer, right? And we were talking about how much times have changed. And this is coming, my kid's 15. This is coming from a 15-year-old. And I laughed. I'm like, what do you know about times have changed? And he says, oh, look, remember the 3D printer that we first got when I was like 10? I'm like, yeah, I remember. It's in the garage. It doesn't have anything. It's just a bare bones kind of 3D printer. And it always messed up. We had to change the filament. We had to change the little nozzle all the freaking time. And he's like, look where it's gone now. This new one that I have has AI in it. It has a camera in it. It has all these cool things, self-leveling and all, top of the line stuff. He's like, times have really changed, Dad. Like, I'm like, yeah, they have in the last 5 years. And I'm thinking, man, technology has really changed too. It really has, man. Like, I remember when I was still in uniform, I was writing, like, I was doing these fitness reports, right? And I was typing things out, and I had my little fitness report writing, book and all that stuff that you get. And I'm trying to figure out what I'm writing for people. I'm like, okay, what's he done? And I have my little list here and accomplishments and all that stuff. I'm writing all this stuff out. And now I'm seeing, because I'm still part of some of these a lot of these military groups, right? Active duty groups. And a lot of folks use like Chat GPT to write fitness reports. And it just spits everything. All you got to do is put their entire billet description, billet accomplishments, plug it in there, and it'll plug into Chat GPT. It'll spit out fitness report bullets. And I'm like, man, this was just 2 years ago. I didn't even have any of this stuff. No. And now look how fast it has come. Crazy, man.
Since we keep talking about this 3D printing stuff, what are your recommendations for somebody who's got ideas, who's had a little bit of experience with 3D modeling and wants to dive into 3D printing and doesn't want to get a device that's going to make them mad and frustrated and have to figure out why it's not working all the time?
Okay. The one, honestly, I could not recommend the one that I have more. Let me see if I can bring this up to show you this.
With the A1?
Bamboo Lab P2S.
P2S. Okay.
P2S. And yeah, so we're shifting to Bamboo. So everybody in the comments can follow. We're shifting to 3D printers right now. So let me pull this up real quick. It is my kid. We just got it 2 days ago. Just came in. We set it up. We've got like 4 or 5 prints already done. I mean, you saw the thing that I just printed out here. This was like a very simple print here.
Yep.
That's all it is. My laptop used to sit on my desk here. I made a drawer for it in front of my desk. Just 3 little simple prints. Right. It's so useful. And it's got a touch screen on it. It's got the app. There's already like thousands of prints that people have made and shared on here that all you have to do is press print and it'll fire it from your phone, your screen over to the machine. And I have a AMS2. Actually, let me do this, man. I'll hook you up here. Let me see if I can do this here. Sitting right there in the corner, right? I don't know if you can see it too well.
Yeah.
Sitting right here in the corner. All this stuff. Yeah, there you go. So the lights on and all that. But super easy to use. Couldn't recommend it enough. There's the app gives you all the learning that you need. It gives you classes. And a big reason why I got it was when you look at Reddit and you look at the people that the amount of people that have each one of these printers, because I was between this one and a lot of my other 3D printers are Kidi Tech or Cheaty Tech, right? QIDI. And I was looking at the Q2, similar to what this one looks like. But when I went on Reddit to look at both of them, one of them has 6,000 weekly visitors. The other one has like 160,000 weekly visitors. So I'm thinking, which one would I get more support from? You know, and then people sharing their prints, sharing everything, you know, like, hey, how can I do this? How can I do that? Connecting AMS2s to this and that. So I went with the Bamboo Lab, which from what I understand is like the iPhone, the Apple iPhone of 3D printers. And if you're going to go with that, get the combo with the AMS2. So the AMS2 is this piece that sits on top where you put all your filaments in.
Okay.
If you buy your filaments straight from Bamboo Labs, they have a QR code on it that the actual thing reads. So it's pretty cool. And I found that
maybe Cup just asked about the filament feed case.
Yeah, the filament. Yeah, I do have the filament, the AMS2. So it is like airtight. So you want to keep these filaments like completely dry. So it is like it comes with a bunch of these specialized packs that you put in the back, silicone packs.
Yep.
And I have them put in the back there. It has like a little drawer for them. And it's completely closed off. It keeps them dry. But I find that the filaments that I purchased from Bamboo Labs are superior to the ones I've been buying from Amazon directly. It has auto leveling. It has all this cool stuff. I was at my kid's baseball game and I logged into the app watching the print, you know, to make sure that it was all good. But the AI in it makes sure that your actual print, if I had an issue with my other printers in the garage, my older ones, where it would just keep printing. If it messed up, it would just keep going, and I'd come back and it'd be like a blob of freaking spaghetti. You know, I'm like, oh shit, man. It's like it didn't stop. This thing through the camera and then the AI, as long as you can keep the light on, will sense that and it will send you a message. It will stop it. So instead of you wasting all this filament. So I couldn't recommend it enough, man. My kids are having a great time for it. It's very user friendly. Everything's pretty much set up for you. And you know, I'm actually thinking about buying another one because I run a business with this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it just printed off. I just printed off a bunch of these, which is, you know, these undercover clips. So I sell these all day. Like I have a wholesale order. So I print these things off, and these take some time because I make them like very high quality, as high quality as I can. And I was impressed by, you can't even see the lines in these things. I was very impressed. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
You can barely see the lines on that. So yeah, very impressive, man. I'd recommend the Bamboo Lab P2S. Not sponsored at all, just
right.
God, man, it's fun. It's so freaking fun to work with this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking and I was wondering, like, is it more ideal to dive into like the A1? It's kind of like the entry level model, even though it looks like it's got some really high speed features on it. But
so they have a sale on the P1S right now. That's the previous model to this P2S. I think it's $399 right now. So they have a sale on those right now. if I was going to jump in on one, given what I see from this one, I'd probably get the P1S, because they do get loud. Like this thing, it has a glass door. When I open it, you hear the fan. It's loud. When I close it, you can barely hear it. Right. So that A1 is completely open, isn't it?
Yeah, it's completely open. Yep.
Yeah. So it depends. Like you don't want. I personally would not want anything else. Like I don't want the sound. I don't want any kind of dust getting on it, you know, and into my stuff. So this thing is completely closed off. Yeah, and I think you know they're bringing up some good stuff on here. Let me see. Do you have filament man? That's amazing. That's trying to make filling to possess one. So there's a thing going on. Yeah, 3D printers. Somebody mentioned 3D printers can print a Glock 19. Yes, I've seen those, and I think in California they're also trying to make it that illegal, to where it'll sense it somehow, and it'll prevent you from printing those things. So ghost guns, I think they call them ghost guns.
Yeah.
My kid was just talking to me about it. He's like, "Dad, have you heard of ghost guns?" I'm like, "Hey, freaking, what are we talking about here, man?
Yeah, bro.
Better not. Yeah, you better not be doing that shit, because I can see all the prints that they're making.
Yeah.
But you can make a ton of stuff, dude. I was looking at like little pieces that, you know, car parts, you know, those little rivets that go in like in the engine that hold like the or even under the car.
Yeah.
Printing those things off, and just you only need one or two, right? Just like so much useful things. And if you go, let me see if I can pull up the Bamboo app here. You got me started on this, John. This is your fault, dude.
I mean, we
I can talk about
brought
this
it
stuff
up a couple
all day.
times, and it's good, and it's interesting for folks like you know what you did before you got out. You've been doing this 3D printing stuff for quite some time, and you came up with the undercover clip, and that's turned into a business that's, you know, lucrative
Yeah.
enough to stick with it, and it all stems from your kind of passion and excitement about figuring out how to do 3D printing and what to do with it, and then solving a problem with it, and then getting feedback that it's a good problem solve, and then continuing to do that. Will you ever evolve your design for the undercover clip beyond what it is right now, or have you thought about that or not?
I have thought about it, yeah, and it's already on. This is the second model, because the first one didn't have any little holes for the ranks. This one does. So I thought about it. I just don't know what, depending on what regulations change.
Yeah.
So stuff like this, like this, you see how you can save it. I got the P2S, right? So you can save it. This would be useful. This is a useful print here to hold your screws and all that. Boxes without labels, boxes with labels. These are, somebody has already made this.
Yeah.
All you have to do is download it, open it, or you can even print it from the app. This is the app, but you just print it from here. You know, like little engines, turboprop engines, you know, just random stuff. People print shoes if you have like the TLA, TPU. I'm working on a bunch of these for my garage, like these little holders and stuff, and for the office here. You know, so there's so much you can do with this stuff, man. I would recommend it. If you're on the fence about it, just don't even sit on the fence, dude. Jump over that.
Just go do it.
Just go do it. And I mean, if the P2S is a little too expensive, man, just I think that P1S, it doesn't have all the features, but it is probably the next best thing. $399.
Yeah, and I'm sure they've come quite a long way from what I mean, when I was messing with them, it was 2018, 2019, somewhere around there, just before COVID,
Oh, dude,
around COVID.
No contest, man. The last one I got was from 2020. And this is when 2019, 2020.
Mhm.
And this one blows it out of the water, man. And it's so fast. It's so fast. It has a standard mode, and then I saw I had a sport mode and a
Yeah.
ludicrous mode. Literally, it says ludicrous, and I put it on ludicrous, and that thing was like all over the place, and it made a decent print, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely check it out. You can make some pretty cool stuff here. We'll steal, yeah. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, so just be careful what you print, like they're talking about. Ludicrous speed. Yeah, it literally is called ludicrous speed, man. But you can, yeah, you can print a bunch of stuff on this, man. Holders and bookmarks or whatever you like. Stuff for your whatever the Osmo Pocket cases. Printing out like a cable management system for under my seat here, or under my table.
Yeah.
So a bunch of stuff. You're on the fence, man. You're thinking about it, huh?
I've been thinking about it for years, ever since I started tinkering with it a few years ago. Like I said, I had access to a lab, and they had probably a dozen 3D printers in there. At any given time of day, they were going just printing stuff. I printed a few things on there and tinkered with it, but like I said, that was 2018, 2019 back then. And then even before that, I think I played with a couple 3D printers, but that was basic rudimentary. Like they're always jamming. You always got to get stuck to the plate that you're printing on, and stuff curls up at the sides and does all kinds of weird stuff.
So what I appreciate with this one is it does auto leveling, and it does it on every print. So before, my other printers, I had to do manual leveling, which means I had to hold a little piece of paper there, put the nozzle on it, and then like on each side, and then level it manually with like a little screw, little thumb screw that you twist. It was needless. I mean, it was a pain in the ass to do I didn't do it every time, maybe every 5-10 prints, something like that. This one, it does it on its own. It cleans its own nozzle. It has a little rubber thing in the back. It like cleans itself off. And then every time it finishes a print, the filament will not stay on the nozzle. It'll suck the filament back up to the top, to the AMS2. So it does it all on its own. So it takes like 5 minutes for it to start up the print. But then after that, it's game over, man. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's very smart. And if it does mess up, it'll tell you, and it has a QR code, and it'll tell you how to troubleshoot it and what to do. And if anything, go on the Reddit. I've not had an issue yet. I mean, mind you, I've only had it for 2 days, and I already have like 14, 15 hours of time on it.
Yeah.
With prints.
Between 3D printers, CNC tech, Legos, my wallet hates me.
Yeah. Dude, you owe me both, man. But you know, if you can make it work, if you can make it happen, make it happen.
You can just send me the Legos and I'll get those off your hands, and then you'll have one less thing in the pocket.
So I will say, if you can, these 3D printers, every 3D printer that I've had has paid for itself. Through my business, I run an Etsy shop as well. So you just have to like think ahead on these things. Like, what can I create that is useful, that solves an issue? And I won't share the Etsy thing. I run it with my wife, and it's a little craft thing. She does these craft things. And I'm like, oh, maybe we'll do these craft things, right? People buy it.
Yeah.
At first, when she brought it up to me, we solved the issue. Like, why don't you put this in here so that way all your stuff is in one place? And then that's what sparked the idea. I created one for her. She's like, why don't we make more of these? I'm like, okay, cool. And I started making them for my old 3D printer, you know, and then we started selling on Etsy. All those 3D printers I have in my garage, I gave I sold 2 of them, gave 1 away. I have 2 more, and then this one here. They all been paid for either through Undercover Clip or the stuff on Etsy.
Yeah.
So there's a real chance that you can actually make some money with this stuff.
Yeah, even with the Etsy fees and stuff that you got to pay the overhead.
Yeah. There's always fees on it. You have to pay a monthly thing. How many you have on there? It's like 20 cents per sale, something like that. It's kind of a pain, but even with the fees and all that stuff, I mean, they pay for shipping, so easy. I mean, if we sold something like $15, you're probably walking away with like maybe 10. But it's how long does it take me to do it? I have to buy a filament thing. I could probably make, I don't know, 100 of those things with 1 spool. You know, and I'm making what, $1,000 off it with 1 spool, and a spool costs you what, $20? Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah, man. So good stuff. Good stuff. Anything else we got on here? Another YouTuber I follow, or Navy Cop says, another YouTuber I follow just created updated dust collection, 3D created for saws that has blown up so much that he just moved into his second larger warehouse and production facility. Yeah, there's a chance for some growth there, man. There is, if you got it. 3D printing farms. I had one in my old house in Hawaii. I had about 6 3D printers, and I was printing the entire time. I had prints going all the time on different things, and it's good money, man. It is. Now you just have to look at like the copyrights on things. Like you can't just take something off the app or other websites and just print those things off and sell them. You have to create your own thing. So you got to get creative with this stuff.
Yeah.
But there's things like Tinkercad. I don't know if you've ever been to Tinkercad. It's a 3D modeling system program. It's completely free. And I've used that so much before I got this Bamboo Labs thing, before I went to the Kitty Print one. I use it so much to design my stuff. You use shapes. You can use the what's it called? The iPhone has this damn scanner on it, AR scanner.
Yeah,
you can actually scan things. Like I've scanned desk items just to try them out, and you can convert them into like STL files and you can print those things out. Pretty cool, man. Print Disney stuff, yeah. No, yeah, they never do, right? I try to stay away from all that Disney stuff, man.
Yeah. Sick.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of stuff you can do, man. Take it from Navy Cop, dude. Throw all your money into it and don't look back.
Go all in.
It does get addicting, man, and it's been nonstop. Actually, my kid went to a birthday party, and instead of going out to buy something, he's like, "Hey, can I print this out for him?" And sure enough, he printed it out, put it in a little bag, and the kid's like, "Holy crap, this is cool."
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm ever going to spend more money unless it's filament, dude, just to make everybody's Christmas gifts on that. Why not?
Sounds legit.
Yeah, you're thinking about it. Well, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Great conversation today, man.
Yeah, man.
Great stuff. A lot of things to think about. A lot of topics. Covered a whole lot here today. We started out with what was it, Pikachu, and then moving on to military civilian transition stuff. Then journal writing, and then actually we started out with your friend, the Army reservist. So I want to give mention to him. And then it ended with 3D printing. So a whole spectrum of things, both, a little bit close to heart, and then some that are fun. So do appreciate these conversations with everybody in the comments, with you, John, as well.
Yeah, this is, like I said, it's highlight, one of the highlights of my week is doing this, hanging out with everybody here in the chat, having conversations, having some jokes, some laughs, having some serious moments once in a while, digging into things that we think about, people think about, and as veterans who are transitioning to civilian life or have already transitioned to civilian life, just trying to put a little bit of a spin on it and a little bit different perspective and get your thoughts and get some of our thoughts and meld those together and make some good decisions in life and do better every day, right? 1% better every day.
That's it. That's what matters. That's what matters. So, and Navy cop called me out here. I started off by not changing my clock. That's exactly what it is. That's how I started off the day. I started off, as we say in the Marine Corps, we started off on the left foot, not the right foot. So we got to start it off on the drill foot. So, hey, good stuff, man. I truly appreciate the conversation and look forward to putting out some more content throughout the week. Want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, as we normally do. Wild Bills, drinkwildbills.com. If you're looking to get in with a good veteran franchise, a good veteran product company run by veterans, and they're looking to bring people on to their team, and it's 50% off all franchise fees for veterans right now and first responders. So drinkwildbills.com. There's AMFI Life, American Fidelity Life Insurance. I always talk about it. One of the biggest reasons, one of the biggest things that I wish I would have done a little bit earlier before I did my VA disability was get life insurance. And but there's no better time than now. So American Fidelity Life Insurance, looking forward to having the CEO of American Fidelity Life Insurance on the show at some point in time to talk a little bit about what they offer and how we can help veterans and service members get on the right foot. AMFILife.com. And I see you got it pulled up here, John. Shout out to MVMT Financial, Movement Financial. Josh Cantrell, our good friend, Army retiree, runs MVMT Financial. And we bring him on the show every so often to talk about some stuff, some veteran finances. And I think he just had his Vet Thrive thing on March 5th. So curious to see how that went. But yeah, it's this dude is a wealth of knowledge. I mean, we could talk about finances, but I'm not a financial advisor. I don't think you are, John, or a financial strategist, right? But Josh is a financial strategist, and he can guide you to the promised land, at least try to, at least with depending on your situation. So yeah, definitely check out MVMT Financial. What else we got here?
I want to print out an AT4. Not a good idea.
All right. No. All right. With that, thank you all for watching. I need to go get my second cup of coffee here and continue on my paper. As we all know, VRNE sounds like fun, but when you're in it, you know, it's some work. It's some work. Is a financial strategist? No, definitely not a financial strategist. Yeah, I don't think I am either. But you make smart choices, and you know, things will work out. With that, thank you all for hanging out with John and I on this episode of the Military Retirement Podcast, streaming on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on the Green Logbook on YouTube, and where else are we streaming? I think that's it, right? Facebook,
that's it for right now.
Yep. Yeah. Hell yeah. I love it. Until next week for the Military Retirement Podcast, and then later on this week for the Green Logbook, I'll be putting out some more videos. Thank you for hanging out with us. It was a great time out here.
We'll see y'all later out here.